As dusk settled, the air grew cooler, and the spirits of stories long told began to awaken. As dusk settled, the air grew cooler, and the spirits of stories long told began to awaken. Huddled in their circle, they dared each other to share tales that chilled the blood and sent icy fingers down their spines. "Let's talk about the Watcher in the woods," suggested Jake, his voice low and dramatic. The others hushed, leaning in closer. "Legend says that long ago, a girl named Lily went missing in those woods, just beyond the playground. They searched for days but found nothing. Some say she became the Watcher, a shadowy figure who lures children into the trees. If you hear her voice calling your name, you mustn't go. It will lead you to your doom," Jake explained, his eyes wide with fear. Amelia couldn't help but shudder. The woods were dark, dense, and filled with secrets. Just last week, she had felt an odd pull to them, an irresistible urge to explore what lay beneath their ancient canopies. Shaking off the sensation, she laughed nervously. "Come on, we're too old for these legends." But the group's laughter was short-lived as Mia, known for her wild imagination, added, "But what if it isn't just a story? What if Lily really is out there?" She leaned in closer, her voice dropping to a whisper, gravely serious. "People say if you go into the woods at midnight and call for her 3 times, she'll appear. You might even see her shadow dancing in the moonlight," Mia continued, and the chilling effect of her words hung in the air. "I dare you to do it," Jake challenged, a mischievous smile creeping onto his face. Before anyone could protest, Amelia found herself nodding. "Fine, let's just go to the edge of the woods and call for her. It's just a silly story, anyway," she declared, but her heart raced at the thought. Midnight loomed closer, and the thrill of adventure was too tempting to resist. The group made their way toward the elusive woods, flashlight beams cutting through the encroaching darkness. The trees stood tall and foreboding, their gnarled branches reaching out like skeletal hands. When they reached the clearing just outside the forest, the air felt heavier, charged with apprehension and excitement. Under the silver light of the moon, they formed a circle. Amelia led the charge, her voice trembling slightly. "Lily, are you there? Come play with us." She felt foolish, but the laughter of her friends quashed any creeping doubt. They echoed her calls, their voices echoing eerily in the desolate night. The first call went unanswered. Then the second. As they approached the third call, an unusual rustle from the underbrush caught their attention. It was a faint whisper, barely audible yet distinctly wrapped in urgency, "Amelia." The voice carried on the wind, soft yet commanding. The group froze, a creeping terror washing over their faces. "Did you hear that?" whispered Mia, her eyes wide with fear. Suddenly, the flashlight flickered, leaving them in darkness for brief moments, illuminated only by the moon. Heart-pounding, Amelia felt an odd pulling sensation deep within her chest, like an invisible thread tugging her toward the silence-shrouded woods beyond. "What's happening?" Jake spoke, his voice high-pitched and strained. "Maybe we should go," Amelia said, glancing at Mia, who looked pale and terrified. But curiosity was stronger than fear. "Let's just get a little closer," she insisted, moving toward the edge of the forest where the shadows danced ominously. Before anyone could voice their objection, she stepped over the threshold of the trees. As she crossed the invisible line, the world shifted. The air seemed thicker, almost suffocating. The whisper intensified, calling her name, "Amelia, Amelia." Her friends stood just outside, voices echoing around her, suggesting that maybe this was a mistake, that they should retreat. But something compelled her forward, a longing, an invitation. "Amelia, come play," the whisper resonated, echoing deeper into the woods. It was hauntingly beautiful, filled with both promise and despair. As she ventured further, the shadows morphed, twisting and flickering as though they had a life of their own. Suddenly, her voice broke through the hazy reverie. "Amelia, come back," Jake shouted, a mix of fear and panic breaking the rhythm of the whispers. But other shadows began to emerge, creeping closer, flanking her on either side. Amelia turned, her heart racing. Nothing looked the same. Where was the path? Where were her friends? The woods were now alive, shadows swirling like a storm around her. She was deeply entangled in the ghostly grasp of the Watcher. In her gut, she felt the icy grip of dread. No, This has to be a dream. You're not real, she shouted into the darkness, defiance rising within. But the shadows only laughed, a sound that churned her stomach. We are more than legend, dear child. Playtime is just beginning. With a final burst of instinct, Amelia turned and ran, her heart pounding like a war drum as the whispers grew louder and the shadows pursued her. She dove through the trees, branches clawing at her skin, sending scrapes up her arms. Amelia, her friends' voices were both a comfort and a beacon, guiding her back toward them. Finally, she broke through the tree line, tumbling back into the clearing, gasping for breath. Her friends caught her, pulling her back into the circle of light. But the woods were more than dark trees now. They felt alive, hungry, watching. What happened? Jake breathed, fear evident in his eyes. Amelia glanced back briefly, her breath hitching. The shadows lingered at the edge, a dark promise of adventure that had turned into a haunting of nightmares. I called her name. I think I pulled her from the shadows. As dawn broke, they fled the woods, only to find the playground eerily quiet. But Glenwood would never be the same for Amelia. For every whisper carried a promise, and some legends were better left undisturbed, lurking as unwelcome secrets within the folds of the night. Forever would the watcher loom, a haunting echo of youthful curiosity gone wrong.